Hi guys. I don't know what vlog this is in, but it is Sunday, July 23rd, and I'm going to see Oppenheimer all by myself. Going all by myself. I mean, I didn't really have anybody else to go with me because my friend and I are going to Barbie next weekend. But Oppenheimer, Barbie's all like sold out, and then Oppenheimer is sold out in these IMAX theaters, except for there were only a couple seats, like all like singles and either really up close or on the side, and only a couple scattered, like depending on the time. So I got a 10:30 a.m. one single little seat in between all these strangers in the middle of the IMAX theater, but it's not the 70 millimeter IMAX, so I guess it's not official IMAX. I might try to do that in a couple weeks, but I think the one near me is like all sold out. So I'm going to see it at least in a regular IMAX. It's 10:08. It starts at 10:30, the trailers. So I'm going to go grab a quick little like couple espresso shots basically, and then I'll head to the movie. Wish me luck sitting with the strangers. That always makes me nervous, to be honest. Because just me, like a girl alone, I don't like that. But I think it should be fine. It's 3 hours long. I'm so excited for Cillian Murphy's face. I think I'm falling in love with Cillian Murphy a little bit. Like, he is so my type right now. And then, of course, Robert. My love, Robert Downey Jr. I'm so excited for him. There's so much Oscar buzz around his role that I'm really hoping. Like, I'll be the judge kind of when I go and see it, because I know him. I know his movies. I know his acting. And I know his most iconic roles that he, I don't know, is most praised for in his performances. I know him. So when I see this movie, I'll know. It's just, I'm so excited to see this movie. I think it's going to be amazing. I've been waiting, like, I couldn't handle all these days not being able to see it. So I'm going to go, and I will tell you how it is after. I'll tell you my thoughts. Oh.
I want to see it again. You didn't see it, you got to go? Or is it going to be a bunch of people responding to the hype, and then the next week is like, I don't want to sit through that shit again?
I don't care about going to the movies. Movies are just
I think that might explain.
Too expensive.
I think that might explain the Mission Impossible thing too. So that's what kind of surprises me.
Put my head back.
And
Mission Impossible's a part one.
Yeah.
Too, which is
it's a part, yeah. And so,
All right. I got out of the film a little bit ago, but it was so hot in the car, and then I had to drive somewhere, and I've been basically reviewing it on my phone on Instagram. Whew. Okay. I don't have a lot to say. It was a film. It was a lot. It was honestly, it was stunning. I would say stunning is the word for this movie, in my opinion. Stunning, beautiful. The film that Christopher Nolan used, like the film, beautiful. The shots of each scene, like the scenes, just simply by being on film and the lighting and whatever was done was so beautiful. And Cillian Murphy in every single scene, I think that's my big takeaway, which I know might be not really the best. My big takeaway, and the thing that I'll remember most from this movie, is how beautiful Cillian Murphy is. He's so beautiful. I mean, in real life, like when you see him in pictures, I've never paid much attention to him. I haven't even seen his show, Peaky Blinders. I watched the first episode or some of it, but I couldn't get into it. I'll give it another try. But I've only seen him in like his supporting roles that he's been in, probably other Christopher Nolan movies that I've seen, and I didn't really pay attention. I didn't know him. But, oh my God, I think I'm a little bit in love with him. I'm a little bit in love with him. This movie, I fell in love with his existence, what he looks like, although he's playing a character. And then any interview I've seen with him, he's just like a real man. Like he doesn't like to be one of these actor types. He's just he's got a craft, and he respects it, and he works hard, and he's a good guy, he seems. And he's Irish, which is, I love Irishmen. I really wish I could marry an Irishman. They're not, I mean, any human, they're not all perfect probably, but I do like myself a Irish actor. Paul Mescal and Cillian Murphy now. So Cillian Murphy, he's the standout to me. He was so good in every scene. I was so captured, if that's the right way to use that, just captured by his presence in each scene, his face, his body. There were moments when I was like, yeah, he really was really skinny for the filming of that movie. I loved that he had mentioned in an interview that he and Christopher Nolan, when they were talking about the outfits and everything for this character for Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan used a lot of what's his name, David Bowie references for David Bowie's outfits with the high-waisted pants and the tight fit in the waist, and I could see that, and I thought that was really, really interesting. I love hearing about how filmmakers come up with how to put together, you know, the wardrobe and the characters and the settings and everything. I think it's so interesting. So it's just really, I mean, of course, the message of the movie or everything and the history, it's just a lot to wrap your mind around. And a lot of it I couldn't even keep up with because I couldn't understand what the people were talking about with a lot of... I understood a little bit of the science only because I read a book about quantum physics recently that was basically kind of the history of quantum physics, and it did talk about the Manhattan Project and all of this with the atomic bomb, and it mentioned a lot of the physicists that were involved in quantum mechanics, quantum physics. Like some of the people in this movie I picked up on, like, oh, that's, I think it's Niels Bohr was in it, or it could have been Bohm. In the book that I read, I couldn't really remember the difference between Bohr and Bohm, but they had that guy, obviously. I think it was Bohr in this movie. I think they had. Heisenberg was mentioned. Most people associate that with Breaking Bad, of course, which I love, but Heisenberg, I guess, was one of the physicists helping the Germans. Obviously Einstein, but I thought Einstein was so cute in this. He was so sweet. Whoever the actor was that they chose, he just looked so cute in every scene with his sweaters. I just thought he was so cute, which I know is weird. Yeah, so Einstein. I don't know if Downey is going to get an Oscar for this, to be honest with you. I don't know. It really is going to come down to who else is nominated in the category, if Downey is even nominated, because his performance was good, but I don't know. For me personally, because I know his acting, I can't say, oh, for sure he's going to get an Oscar, because maybe I think that if he's had better performances in the past than this one. He was good, but I don't know if it's really a standout performance, in my opinion, from my experience watching basically every Robert Downey Jr. movie that he's ever been in. So he's a great actor, but I don't know about this one. So it's going to depend on who else is nominated. But Cillian Murphy's getting the Oscar. If he doesn't get the Oscar for this, then I don't know. The Oscars doesn't really mean much, but I guess we're still holding out hope for it. I guess for some reason it's still respected as a awards that recognize good filmmaking. I don't know if it really means much anymore, but I would say I hope Cillian Murphy, if anybody's going to win Best Actor, it's got to be Cillian Murphy for this. Maybe not. And then probably Best Picture for Oppenheimer. Probably. I don't know. But I don't know if it's going to be a film that everybody would enjoy, but it's a significant film, I will say. Well made by Christopher Nolan. So well made. I don't know what it takes to make a film, but it's got to be a lot. And I know I have so much respect for his choice of using film and for making everything with practical effects. I think it's so, it just means a lot. I, as somebody who likes film and enjoys, I don't study it really, but I enjoy it as a craft to watch a film, and I respect what it takes to make the film. I love that Christopher Nolan is dedicated to that. And I'm not a huge Christopher Nolan fan in terms of his other movies. There's not a single Christopher Nolan movie that I have ever felt like I really loved or would want to watch multiple times. Tenet, I thought was pretty good. I did watch Tenet in the theaters, and I liked it, although I didn't understand it. But I really liked the action in that movie, and I liked that I preferred it to Inception and stuff like that. So Tenet I did like, but I don't know if, I mean, it's not, just none of his movies have really stood out to me as something that connects with me personally. But I think this one has connected with me more than any other, simply because I do like history, and I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was his most beautiful film he's ever made. I don't know. I haven't seen all of them, but this was gorgeous. And you know, it doesn't hurt to have Cillian Murphy on the screen, like at all times, being so beautiful. His face was so good, and his body, I'm not saying that in a weird way, I just really mean beautiful. Like his body, just the way that he stands, the way that he moves, his presence in this scene. And the hand on the hip thing was very much a like trying to live in the character, because based on some photos or some videos I think that they have of Oppenheimer, there were just sometimes he'd have his hands on his hips. So Cillian Murphy took that as like his way of embodying the character, and it's so good, and he looks so good. It's just to see his existence in the scene, I just loved. I thought it was beautiful. And the beginning of the movie was so... The beginning might be my favorite part of this movie. I don't even know where to say like that beginning ends, because I need to watch it more times. But when he was younger and he had more of the hair, and the part when he was in the museum looking at the artwork and with the music playing, that moment, I was like, this movie is about to be one of those beautiful movies of all time. Now, I don't think, after the movie's finished, I don't know if I would say that it is, but that beginning part was some of the most beautiful, immersive, and poetic filmmaking I've ever seen. It was poetic. It was beautiful. So Christopher Nolan, work of art. It's a work of art. So it's not going to be for everybody, but it's a work of art. And just to see Oppenheimer standing in front of that painting, and with the music coming in, like, and knowing that he was about to be a part of the creation of the atomic bomb, and watching him as a younger man, not knowing what he was going to end up doing with his life, standing in front of that painting and knowing basically the destruction that he would take part in, and then him being haunted. I mean, it's just, I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine what it would have been like to live as Oppenheimer. Like that man, you can't even comprehend. And obviously other people were trying to create the atomic bomb at the same time, and inevitably somebody was going to be the one that either was at the helm or took part in the creation of that bomb, because I guess us humans, we figured out how to do it, and so then we ended up doing it, and inevitably somebody was going to be the one, but he's the one that's known for it. And I can't imagine being that individual. And Cillian Murphy did such a good job. He did such a good job. It's like a mix of like, he's playing this, he really embodied the character. I wasn't at all distracted by the fact that it was Cillian Murphy. You know, like, I was like, he's gorgeous and he's Cillian Murphy, but at the same time, he was this character. I didn't feel like, he didn't look like, I don't know, he didn't seem like a modern man. He didn't seem like the man who we know as an actor who was like in Peaky Blinders and all this stuff. He seemed like this character, and he was just so good. He was just really good, and his acting was subtle. It was like clear and subtle. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't at all, there wasn't any distraction of that he's an actor playing this role. It was subtle and perfect, but so clear. I don't know how to explain it other than that. It was like subtle and clear at the same time. Yeah. And it goes back to some of the things that I talked about. I don't know if I actually included it in the video now, I don't remember. But in the video where I was talking about life and trying to be happy about life, and then also I was talking about, remember not long ago that submarine that went down in the ocean and imploded because they were trying to see the Titanic? That wasn't very long ago, but it feels like an obsession we had recently that's now gone, has now passed as obsessions pass. But those are real people in that sub. The wild thing of art and death, to me, I was thinking about it the other day. Now, I don't know how long, hold on. Okay. We're so fascinated by death, and it's an inescapable thing about living is death, and we're all facing death. I thought about it with the Titanic thing because, you know, the Titanic was a real ship that went down in the ocean, and a lot of people had a horrific encounter with death. Their experience with death was horrific. They drowned or froze or whatever in a sinking ship to know that you're on a ship that's sinking. Like, it's horrible. And we're so fascinated by that. And so fascinated by it, it's become this modern legend. There was a real event, obviously, but it's like this story, like a ghost story that we tell. And what's his name? Now I can't remember because there's so many directors in my head right now. James Cameron, duh. I'm just all in like Oppenheimer brain right now. I can't think of James Cameron, but James Cameron made the Titanic film because he was fascinated by the Titanic story, of course. So that is art that came from devastation, a tragic event. And when you make art like a film, there's so much that goes into it. What went into Titanic includes, like, obviously the actors, and then even like the Celine Dion song that is an iconic, beautiful song. And when the submarine imploded, submersible, you got all this talk about the Titanic again, and Celine Dion's song goes back into trending. It's this weird thing of like, wait a second, like, this is multiple tragedies at the same time. Like, it's the Titanic was a tragedy, inspires art, inspires another tragedy by people deciding to go down in this submersible. We're so weird as creatures. We're so strange. We're so strange. It's just a weird thing that, like, we are creators. And we're so, like, contradictory, but it all is the same. I don't know. Like, we destroy and we create. And it's, as a Christian, I do find it so interesting. Something that I can't look past is that our religion and our description or belief about God, about the deity, that if there's a deity, is that he was a creator and he created us in his image. And I find it interesting that we are creators. Other animals, maybe they can create, I don't know. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. And then I was watching this movie and I was thinking the other day, Oppenheimer was a real man. He created what, like, you know, like the most powerful destructive thing that humans have created. I mean, he worked with a bunch of people and they developed it. He was a real man, and then to know that you helped create something that killed so many people. Like, how do you wrap your mind around that? And then he had to live on, and it just, and so that happened, right? I don't even have to, these are just my thoughts. That happened. And then today, this film has come out. A piece of art, in my opinion. A piece of art. Oh, it's pretty much undeniable. That's a piece of art. A film made by a creator, an artist. Christopher Nolan, anybody else involved in this film, filmmakers, actors, that's an art, came together to make art based on or about a real man who did what he did, of course. And now it's a piece of art that is it's so crazy. The world is so crazy. It's all over, like, the internet. We're like Barbie and Oppenheimer, like, so crazy. Because when you really think about it, when you, like, follow it up like that, a piece of art has been made about a man who is real, who created a weapon of mass destruction. And it's a real part of our history on the planet. And now it's a piece of art that we can watch in a movie theater as a group. And we're also talking about alongside another piece of art that's like about something completely different, Barbie. It's just so wild. That's why life is so, like, for better or worse, and in all its bad, there's all this good, but it's like so interesting. And honestly, after this movie, I don't know how we're even still here right now. They really could have blown up the whole world. Somehow we're here, and I don't know how much longer we will be here, because there is the concern of nuclear war. Count your blessings. We're here right now. We're here right now. That wasn't an accent. I don't know what that was. Don't ask me what accent that was. It wasn't an accent. We're here somehow for whoever knows how long, and I just watched a great film, a great piece of art. And we humans, we destroy and we create. And it's just so interesting to me. So interesting. But yeah, I love it. I love, what is it? Prometheus gave fire to man, and for that he was punished by being chained to a stone. Stuff like that. Like that whole thing, the beginning of the movie. That, and Oppenheimer is Prometheus, and then the Bhagavad, I think it's Bhagavad Gita. I don't know how to say the first part, but that, which I need to read someday, is just, I am become death, destroyer of worlds. And yes, how that was shown in the movie, I didn't see that coming. I really didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to be like the classic him being interviewed and like, I am become death, destroyer of worlds. But no, he said it, which is obviously like an interpretive. Christopher Nolan said that the colored scenes are subjective and the black and white scenes are objective, which means that kind of like the colored scenes are like, take it with a grain of salt, we're up to. Is it gonna work? It's not. I'm so annoyed because it was zoomed in the whole time that I was like reviewing Oppenheimer. It was so zoomed in. This camera is done. This camera is done to me. It's dead to me. I need to get a new camera, but I can't afford one right now. So either I'm including those zoomed in clips and it's just a creative license, filmmaker style of hyper zoomed in on my freaking face, or I will decide that I don't look good enough and it will not be in this, and I'll just re-record my thoughts. I wish I was a filmmaker, but if I were a filmmaker and this was a film, I would not have those zoomed in shots. I don't think, but I guess we'll see. Until I review it again, just know Cillian Murphy is gorgeous in the movie. Was stunning. That sums it up. Stunning movie. Very well done. Cillian Murphy is incredible and gorgeous in every way possible. That's my review. Now, if I refilm more thoughts, I will include them. Thank you, camera. Okay, let's hope this round is not zoomed in. Don't mind my crazy hair. I just got out of Oppenheimer for the second time. It's been about 2 weeks, I think, since I tried to film my reaction to the first one. It still holds up. Walking out of the theater after seeing Oppenheimer is such a wild thing because it makes you question, you know what I mean, if you've seen the movie. And that fine balance between creation and destruction. And it just makes me feel amazed that we're still here and I'm right here and all this is still here. So anyway, it's a very good movie. Ooh, just gorgeous, just beautiful. I think the first half for sure is my favorite, especially that first like third, or maybe, I don't know how to say how, because when you're watching it, I don't know where I'm at in the movie, but the beginning still is just so beautiful to me. It's my favorite part of the whole movie. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And overall, the film to me is poetic and it's just beautifully crafted. I just love it. So yes, and I did see Barbie. I saw Barbie last weekend, but it didn't do it for me as much. I thought Barbie was disappointing to me, actually. Barbie just overall disappointed me. I wanted it to be more entertaining than what it was. I think it was too, my brother said Barbie was too on the nose, and he saw it before I did. So then when I saw it, he was right. It's too on the nose. There wasn't enough nuance to Barbie. It was just all like put out there, very clear. The dialogue, the way it was written, I just didn't like how it was just sad. Like there wasn't, I thought it would be more left up to interpretation, and you know, we would know what it's talking about. Like we knew what Barbie was going to be about, and I thought that it was going to be more just implied, and we would get the point and get the message. You know, use Barbie as the metaphor, you know, and they used it as a metaphor, but spoke the metaphor, and that's not what you're supposed to really do. So I didn't really enjoy Barbie. It was like fun, but it felt to me like a kid's movie, but not as well done as a lot of the kids movies that I saw growing up. And it was for adults, so it wasn't a kids movie, so it kind of didn't make sense. I don't have anything against it, but I didn't enjoy it very much, because to me it was too on the nose. I like a little bit more nuance. But the cast was good, and Ryan Gosling was the best part. Ryan Gosling, he was hilarious. He was good as Ken, and I did enjoy the look of the movie. I liked all that. I really respect Greta Gerwig's the thoughts that went into the making of the movie, and her references to film history and all that. I love that, and I have a lot of respect for her as a director, but I did not really enjoy Barbie. I like her other movies more, and I can't wait to see what she does next, but Barbie for me just didn't work. It didn't work for me. So that's my thoughts on Barbie, but Oppenheimer, clearly I love, because I've seen it twice. I would see it again, but I probably won't, because now for some reason it's going out of theaters already in my area. I don't know why, and I only want to see it in IMAX, so I've seen it twice in IMAX, and the IMAX is going, I've looked for next week, and there are like no IMAXs anymore. But it's fine. I saw it twice. I think it's amazing. That's good enough for me right now. I'm definitely going to buy it on DVD. I'm going to buy the screenplay that you can buy. You can buy the screenplay for this movie. I'm going to buy the book that inspired it. Anyway, there was a lot to say, and I don't need to say any more. But it's a very good movie. Very beautiful, poetic, gorgeous creation. And then in the future, in my future home, I hope I can have a giant wall somewhere. I need a big ceiling. I need a room with a big ceiling. I need a giant wall. I need to get a giant projector and be able to project this movie on the freaking wall, because I think that's the only way to watch it. I don't know how I'm going to watch this movie on a TV screen. I'm upset that I won't get to experience it like this again. So I need to get a giant wall and a giant projector and watch this freaking movie. Until that day in my future, I'm going to have to just deal with, I guess, TV screens. It'll never be the same, but it's okay. It's now one of my goals, okay? Giant room, giant projector, Oppenheimer. Someday I'll get to see it again just like this, but it'll never be the same. That IMAX screen is cool. It's beautiful to see. I was more immersed in this one than when I saw it the first time. I would recommend, if you go for IMAX, get in the middle, of course, get a middle seat, but don't go all the way to the back of the theater. There's actually a nice little middle ground, I think, being a couple rows closer. I did with this one. I was a little bit closer, and it was even better because I was even more immersed. I wasn't up close to the screen, but I was a little bit closer. So that's what I recommend. Anyway, loved it. It was so beautiful, and I gotta go. But those are my movie thoughts. Best movies of the year so far, in my opinion, are Oppenheimer and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which I don't even think I talked about in this vlog. Maybe I did, but it was so good. Mission Impossible was so fun. This movie's beautiful. Oppenheimer's beautiful. Mission Impossible is so freaking fun. I loved it so much. That's also one I'm getting on DVD. So anyway, best movies of the year so far. Definitely. Oppenheimer. I'd say Oppenheimer number 1 and Dead Reckoning number 2. Now I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. I wanted to mention one last thing. It's Sunday. It is Sunday. I saw that at 10:30. This is now my new thing, I think. When I want to see a movie, I'm going to go for 10:30 a.m. screening. I love it because I'm the type that will sleep in almost all day. So if I can get up for something, that's great. I got up. I got myself ready. I got myself a quick espresso, shaken espresso, get myself that coffee, go in and watch a movie. And then now it's the early afternoon and I still have the rest of the day. This is my thing now. So the movie doesn't take up the whole day. And I just wanted to say, when I bought my ticket, when I was looking on the map of the seats or whatever, there were only a few people that have had purchased seats so far. So I thought this theater was going to be empty. I thought surely there's only going to be at most 10 of us in this theater because it's a Sunday, 3 weeks. Is it 3 weeks or 2? This is the 3rd weekend of this film being out. I thought surely everybody saw it in the first week or 2, and it's going to be a pretty empty theater today, Sunday, 10:30 a.m., 3rd week of the movie. But then I got there and the whole theater was packed. Of course, I was a little late because it's early. I wasn't late to the movie, but I was late to I got there right in time as the trailers ended, and the theater was packed. It was a full theater, except for the very front row. The front seats up at the screen weren't full. Sunday, 10:30 a.m., the 3rd weekend of the movie. I don't know. I just thought that wasn't going to be the case, and it was a full theater. So I'm like, wow, people are still trying to go to this movie. I respect it. I love it. So I just wanted to say that this movie's pulling in the people. It deserves it, and I'm really excited for. I know we're all on film Twitter. We're all saying the same thing. It's very exciting for film. It's very exciting for the movies, and I'm very happy about it. So I was very pleased to see that full theater, even though it was a little awkward because I thought it was going to be very empty and I was going to have the whole row to myself. That wasn't the case. It was a full theater, but I'm happy about it. It's a good thing. Anyway, that's the last thing I'll say.